Welcome back, guys. In this video we're going to be modeling this hexapod from scratch in Blender. We'll focus only on the modeling aspect in this video, and next week I'll release the full rigging tutorial. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified when the video comes out. So without further ado, let's grab our mouse and go. So let's delete everything and add a, let's see, a circle, right? And then give it segment vertices of 3 to make it a triangle, right? A perfect triangle. Enter edit mode and we'll use Ctrl Shift B to bevel. I think something like this is okay. Let me enable my screencast keys so that you can see what I'm pressing on my keyboard over here. Okay, I'm going to fill this up and I'm going to extrude it up a bit. I'm going to check the face orientation. It's not at the wrong side, so I'm going to select everything and use Shift N to recalculate outside. So this looks good. Next I'm going to add in a, let's see, will the UV sphere work? If I was to cut it like this, I'm not sure. So let's add this cube and subdivide it by 3. Alright. I don't know, it feels like it might not work as well, but let's just use the cylinder. So sorry, a UV sphere. I'm going to scale this up, go to the top view. I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to scale it down even more, move it on the z-axis over here, somewhere around there. I'm going to just scale it up even more, apply the scale, or I'm going to move it instead to this part. Yeah, here will do. I'm trying to give the same distance as these 2 points here, as these 2 sides. So I think this is okay. I'm going to move it down a little bit. I'm going to enter edit mode. I'm going to grow the selection. I think to something like here. Yeah, I'm going to delete the vertices and I'll just drag it up. I'm going to change my snapping option to face. So I'm using Ctrl Shift and Tab to get this menu. I'm going to snap it to the top over here. I'm going to shade it smooth and I'm going to add my auto smooth. I'm using Blender 4.1. I don't know why they removed the option to shade auto smooth from here. Right, so I'm going to select everything and I'm going to, let's just use a solidifier instead. Right, so I'm going to move it up here and I think something like this will work. I'm going to apply it and then select this ring of edges, vertices. Going to change the snapping tool to vertex and then snap it to that point here. I'm going to isolate this using / on my numpad. I'm going to select these vertices and delete them. I'm going to extrude these on the z-axis and then change my snapping tool to face and snap it to that point over there, and this looks perfect. Okay, so I'm going to create a loop cut here. I'm going to select these faces and extrude by normals. I'm using Alt E to get this menu and then extrude face along normals, and this looks good. I'll use Alt S to widen it up a bit. I'm going to add the mirror modifier. I'm going to select this So that is too big, so using Alt S, I'm going to reduce it. Going to top view, and that seems about right. I don't know, here I'm going to just select this part GZ and then snap, okay, vertex GZ, snap it there. Going to dissolve that using Alt X. Okay, so that's looking good. I'm going to select this part and bevel it just like this. Now it's looking good. I'm going to bevel these as well. Yeah, this is looking good. And then I'm going to create a loop cut here. I'm going to bevel this to something around here. I'm going to go to face select, extrude along normals, and then inward like this. I'm going to the edge select, and I'll bevel these parts like this. And this looks good already. I'm going to press Shift S and then cursor to selected on this part. So I'm going to add a, let's see, another UV sphere. I'm going to scale this down, scale it up a bit even more, and you'll note it won't pass this point because there's a sphere inside also. I'm going to scale this just a little bit more like this. So this is perfect. I'm going to go to vertex select. I'm going to select and I'm going to reduce it. I'm going to delete vertices, or I'm going to just delete faces instead. Right? So I'm going to extrude these along the z-axis. I'm going to right click, shade smooth, and then add my auto smooth. This is looking good already. Okay. So I'm going to let's see, should I enable clipping over here, and then if I use Alt S to snap, it doesn't feel too good, but I'll also snap this over here and then move it up a bit. How would that look? Nah, I don't feel like. Control Z. Okay. So going to move this up even more and more like this. I think this should be okay. Going to add a loop cut over here, maybe just half of that, but I'm going to move it in even more like this. I'm going to select this part, duplicate it, and then separate by selection. Okay, so now we have this other mesh over here. So I'm going to right click, set origin to geometry. So now the origin is over here. Okay, I'm going to enter edit mode, or I'm going to just add another solidifier over here. Let's move it above this part. I'm going to change the offset to 1, and I'm going to increase the thickness to something like this. I think this is okay. I'm going to apply it, and then let's start working on it. Right, so I'm going to increase this just a little bit. I'm going to drag this up to something like this. So now that one stops over here. So if I was to move this part down to this point, yeah, I think I will just select the vertices. That's why I'm in edit mode for this one. Right, I'm going to drag it down just a little bit, something like this. I don't know, to the middle point. Okay, if I want to get the middle point, I can just add a loop cut on this part. Enter edit mode here, GZ, and then snap it to that point. So now it can go as high as this and go as low as this. So I think that should be good for this part. I'm going to select this part over here and I'll bevel it, and I'm going to create a loop cut here, bevel this, go to face select, extrude along normals, and then I'm going to bevel this like so. Okay. And let's see, I'm going to add this part is going to be rotated something like this and over there. All right, so I think I'll add a mirror too over here. I'm going to select this part, going to add a mirror modifier as well here, select this one. So now if I select this part and this part, I can parent it. So object keep transform, I'll rotate it along the y-axis to something like this. Okay, I rotate it on the x-axis to something like this. Let's see, Alt R, reset the rotation. I think this thickness is too much. It's too much. So I'll just scale this down instead to something like this. I'll scale it up a bit. I'll apply the scale. Let's enter edit mode. I'll dissolve this for now. I'll alt select these faces inside, and then let me come over here. I'll use alt S to bring it out a bit. Using the shrink and fatten tool. I'm going to keep it around there. It's looking good. So, and I'm going to, let's say I'm going to increase this a bit so that it can come down up to this point and go. Okay, so this is okay. I'm going to select these vertices, these edges over here. I'm going to move them up a bit, something like this. I'm going to bevel it and then scale it on the z-axis by 0. Okay, so this is looking good, and the reason I did that is because I want to copy this same what they call this here over here and then put it up there. Okay, so what I'll do is, let's see, should I extrude it? I feel like extruding it, but no. I'm going to delete these faces over here. So what I did was to just add a loop cut and drag it up. I'm going to move this part first until it's barely touching that, just something like that, and then fill it up. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this, rotate it on the y-axis by 180 degrees, and then move it on the z-axis. Right, GZ. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to enable wireframe view. Right, you can find it up here. You'll see wireframe. I added it to quick favorite. That's why mine is showing remove from quick favorite. But once you right click, you will see, you also see add to quick favorite. So I'm going to press GZ. Since I'm using Blender 4.1, I have the new snapping tool, so I'll just press B on my keyboard. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click on this vertex. So now it has snapped that part perfectly. I'm going to remove the wireframe. I'm going to enter edit mode here, select this part and delete vertices. going to select this one and this one, Control J to join them. The reason I selected this ball part as last is so that the origin point will be there, like so. Going to enter edit mode, select everything and merge by distance. Okay, it's not merging. Okay, so I'll just, okay, they're not aligned well, that's also why. So I'm going to scale, press B, I'm going to select that vertex and then select that one, yeah, so that they will all be together. Press A and merge by distance and you will see 32 vertices select deleted, right? So now this is what we are left with. Okay, and I'm going to as well duplicate this, rotate on the y-axis by 180 degrees. Going to select this, shift S, cursor to selected, select this, shift S and selection to cursor. So now we have that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to Alt S and then reduce the what they call it, I'm reducing the radius over here. I think this face is not needed. Same thing with this one as well. Delete those faces, they're not needed. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this and move it up. I'm going to press GZ and snap it to the vertices up here to make it perfect, and I'm going to scale it down to something reasonable like this. Okay, I'm going to apply my scale and then I'm going to press Alt G to reset the location, because I want to press G and then snap that top face up here because I want it to be the same height. GZ and then snap it on top of there like so. Okay, so our hexapod is looking well. So if I rotate this, nothing is happening. That's because we have parented this part. Control P, object, keep transform. So I'm going to rotate this like so, and then I'm going to rotate this inward like this. Okay, that is too much, and I might as well just increase the size of this one. Right, so I'm going to select this part, press Alt R. Okay, I'm going to just press Alt P, clear parent and keep transform, and I'm pressing Alt R to reset the rotation. Rotate on the x-axis by 180 degrees, and then you can see how it looks like. So I'll press GZ on the top part of the hexapod and then snap it here. So now I will parent this again to that part. Control P, object keep transform, so that when I rotate, right, I'm going to rotate it on the y-axis just a little bit, something like this. Going to select this one, Alt P, and object clear and keep transform. Going to press Alt R to reset the rotation. Rotate on x-axis by 180 degrees, and doesn't look that bad actually. Oh, okay, I forgot how. I forgot. So what I'm going to do is press Alt R here, press Shift S, selection to cursor, so that's good here. Our hexapods are not like that, so I'm going to rotate this on the z-axis by, let's say, 30 degrees. I'm gonna rotate something like this, and this has 6 sides, right? So if I rotate it on the z-axis, 360 divided by 6, yeah, so 60 degrees. Hexapods are like this. So this part will align here, and then this one will go over here. So if I, let's say, rotate on the x-axis, okay, I'm going to parent this up here. So rotate on the x-axis and rotate on the y-axis, something like this. Okay, this is now looking good. Yeah. Now this is perfect. Okay. We'll, I think like this should be okay. So I'm going to press Alt P, object clear parent, and keep transform, Alt R, and then rotate on x-axis by 180 degrees. Going to select this part GZ and then snap it to the top over here. So now I can see how it looks like. Okay. So I feel like scaling this up even more. Should be something like that. Going to apply the scale and then Alt G, snap that over here, GZ, and then snap that over there. Now I just need to rotate it this way a bit, parent that, and then I will rotate on the y-axis just a little bit, even more, something like this should work. We select this, Alt P, clear and keep transform, Alt R, rotate on the x-axis by 180 degrees, and that looks perfect. Okay. So now that we've gotten that, all I need to do is Shift S, cursor to wall origin. Okay. And then I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to duplicate these ones around, right? So what I'm going to do is, let's say, instead of I'm going to just apply it, the mirror, right? I'm going to apply this mirror. I'm going to apply this one as well. I'm going to apply this one, and then lastly I'm going to apply this one. Okay, so now I know that the origin it's on this over on this edge over here, so that is also, that will reflect to, I think, that one. Let me see if I count. This is 1 2 3 4 and 5. Yeah, so it's the fifth one. So that is 1 2 3 4 5 over here, right? So I'm going to use L to select this part and then separate by selection. So this is 1 2 3 4 5. Shift S, cursor to selected, and then shift, okay, right click, set origin to 3D cursor. So now it's also rotating over there, but the problem now is the rotation. Okay, so I've gotten for that one, and I'll do the same thing over here. So it's the fifth one, right? So 1 2 3 4 5. Yeah, L, P, and then separate by selection. So I'm going to go 1 2 3 4 5, shift S, cursor to select it, right click, set origin to 3D cursor, and now it's looking perfect. I'm going to now let's see, going to shift S, cursor to selected, delete this, duplicate this, shift S, selection to cursor, and on the y-axis I'm going to change it from minus to a positive, and now it's perfect. Do the same thing over here, delete this, duplicate this, and then selection to cursor, change this from negative to positive. Okay, I first have to Alt P clear and keep transform, right? So I'm going to duplicate this selection, and then on the y-axis I'm going to change that from negative to positive, and that looks perfect. So now we have gotten our hexapod shape. All right, I'm going to also separate this one, and I think this one too should be on the, it should be this one, yeah. So Shift S, cursor selected, right click, set origin to 3D cursor, and this one I just need to select this, enter edit mode L, and then separate by selection, select this one, right click, set origin to 3D cursor, and so now these are individual objects, right? So I'm going to press Shift S and then cursor to world origin. So now this part is not right, so I'm going to select everything, make sure everything is selected. I'm going to use this, just hit full stop on your keyboard. This will bring up the pivot point menu. So I'm going to change it from median point to 3D cursor. I'm going to duplicate this, rotate on the z-axis by 60 degrees. Okay, no, I think 90 or sorry, 120, yeah, 120 degrees, and then Shift R. Make sure you do that, it will repeat what you did last. So now our hexapod has come to shape. So I'm going to select all of this part, isolate this using forward slash, and they're barely just touching each other, which is perfect. Okay, so what I want to do next is I will love to select this two, enter edit mode, and then select these parts, insert them. Make sure loop tool add-ons enabled. You can go to edit, preferences, add-ons, and then search for loop tools. If you're using a higher version of Blender, you have to be connected to the internet, search for loop tool. So I'm going to right click and use the loop tools and then cycle. It only did it to the selected object over there, but no problem, I'm going to work with that. So it has made it into a cycle, but I don't like the rotation. So what I normally do is that I'll add a loop cut, go to edge select, alt select all these parts, I'm going to rotate it on the z-axis, I'm going to use B, right? I'm going to get that new snapping tool, I'm going to select this vertex and then snap it over there. I'm going to do the same thing, rotate Z, B, and then snap that one there. So now I can dissolve this one. Alright, seems like okay. Change it to median point, scale this on the z-axis. So I'm going to snap that here. I don't know why mine moved. So I'm going to select this two, right click, and then bridge faces. That looks perfect. I'm going to also right click over here, loop tool, and cycle. So I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, Z and B, and then select that part over there. And I don't know why it's looking weird. Right. Okay. I'm going to rotate on the z-axis. Use B. And so now it looks perfect. So I'm going to right click, bridge faces. I don't know, it feels like, yeah, rotate CB. Rotate ZB. Okay, now I can now dissolve that. So this is our Hexapod. Alright, I'm going to let's see what will I do with this part. Can I just, because I'm trying to make it as low poly as possible, I don't want to use subdiv. So if I use bevel, right, so hold down, press C on your keyboard so that it will not be doing it, to enable the clamp overlap. So I'm going to take it up to this point and then increase the bevel to, let's say, 3 segments, or let's say even 4. So let everything merge by distance. Right click, shade smooth, and then add my auto smooth. Alright, now it doesn't look too good. So what I'm going to dissolve this too. Okay, I'm going to dissolve this one, making sure it's only the one in the center that is still there. Okay, and now even though the topology looks bad right now, as long as the mesh is not going to be deformed, then you have no problem with the topology. Just get the shape right. Even though, yeah, it's good to have good topology, but at this point, like, since the shape is right, then no problem. Okay, so now this looks good, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm just going to create a cycle. Control B, press A, and merge by distance. So now I will select all of them that we're going to dissolve. Okay, dissolve it using Ctrl X. So I'll right click, shade smooth, and then normal auto smooth. So I'll add in a bevel node and then reduce the bevel just like this. Going to add a weighted normal that will fix that issue right there, and then I'll just give it, let's say, 3 segments, and then do just, I'll select this one, select this other one, Control L, copy modifiers. Don't need to actually, what they call it, you don't need to add it again there. So now this looks perfect for me. Perfect. Okay, I think what I'll do is I'll alt. Okay, I'm going to alt select this one's, Control B. Okay, how does that look? Not bad actually. So I'll Control Z, because there's something I'm going to do after pressing Control B to this point like this. I'm going to go up to the bevel and then disable loose slide, and then you can see how it has fixed it up for us. Okay, I think I'm going to have to right click, loop tools, and then cycle. Yeah, that wasn't a perfect cycle. Loop tool and cycle. Right click, loop tools, cycle. Now this is looking better. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Just going to loop tools, cycle, loop tools, cycle. So I'm going to alt select all these parts and then Control B to bevel, something like this, and this is already looking good. Okay, so now I think the modeling is okay. I feel like selecting this one's G and Z, or is that going to? Nah, I'll just leave it like this. This is okay for me. Okay, so we are done modeling, I guess, right? And that's the modeling complete. I've got a clean mechanical Stewart platform ready to go. Now I don't want to make this a 2-hour marathon, so I'm saving the rigging and constraint for next week's video. We'll be using trap to constraint and child of constraint as well to make this leg move realistically. So make sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss that upload. And see you guys in the next video. Peace!